Okay, so here we are. Welcome to our Wednesday yoga class. We're going to focus on our core today, and it's interesting, rectus abdominis, that's the outer layer muscle, and if you don't have a lot of fat underneath, you see a six-pack. I've never seen a six-pack in my life, and I don't expect to, so it's not about that either. So rectus abdominis, and we've even got an artist in our room, so I have to be accurate with my muscle description, and if I'm not, tell me after class, will you, Glenn? And then transverse abdominis is a deeper layer of muscles. Obviously transverse, it's going across your body. And I'm mentioning these muscles because along with your internal and external, or inner and outer obliques that wrap around your waist and are supposed to give you one, we can imagine. And then erector, spinae. So these are three subgroups of muscles that go all the way down your spine, well, most of your spine. These are the muscles that make up your core. And so today we're going to start on our backs, and we're going to start gently because any surprises for the body could wind up being a problem, so we don't surprise the body. So come on down onto your backs and just bend your legs and bring the soles of your feet together. So your soles of your feet together, you're in Baddha Konasana, okay, that butterfly pose. And just lift your shoulder blades up and tuck them underneath your heart center. Tilt your chin towards the center of your chest to lengthen your neck. And then just become aware of your breathing. The breath is a place to visit more often than we might. Right now, of course, most of us are in a pretty calm state. But things go on in life, and then we start to hold our breath, or we don't fully exhale. So this is your chance to begin to be more aware, more conscious. That's part of why we practice yoga. So breathing, and last week we talked about the benefits of breathing through your nose. It warms and humidifies the air, which your respiratory system appreciates. When we breathe through our nose, there's a better balance of your oxygen and carbon dioxide exchange, which your brain appreciates. So there's really, and just breathing through the nose activates your parasympathetic nervous system. Now, all of these reasons are equally important and useful. I don't think it's going to be too sunny today, tech guy, to be honest. We're going to bring the sun out. It'll come out after class. Okay, but thank you for caring about everybody being blinded by the sun. We're almost ready for it at this point. Okay, so let's bring the arms up into a cactus position, if that's comfortable. So cactus arms, or goalposts in football. And we're just going to have a variety of arms while we're on our backs. Now, identify your right knee, and you're just going to bring your right knee up to the center and over to meet the left knee. So you're just twisting the lower back. And inhale, bring that knee back to center and all the way back over to the right. So you're back in where we started in Baddha Konasana, supine, lying down. And now identify your left knee and bring it up to the center and let that knee gently fall on top of the other knee. So we're just gently warming up the lower back here and the hips. Inhale, bring the left knee to the center. Both feet are still in contact with one another. You're back in Baddha Konasana. Your arms are in cactus position. And then inhale, bring that right knee up. Your feet stay on the mat. And you're bringing your right knee over to meet the left. And inhale. And can you do this a couple of times with your own breath? Let your breath initiate the movement. So exhaling in the relaxed position and inhaling as you bring a knee up, and exhaling as you bring a knee down to meet the other one. Let your breath be synchronized with the movement. And I don't want to overwhelm you, but you are now warming up some of your core muscles, your hips, your inner thighs and adductors. And once you've done the same number on either side, come back into supine Baddha Konasana. Okay, and now bring your knees together and bring your knees up into your chest, both knees up into your chest. Try to glue your knees, your thighs, and the sides, inner soles of your feet together. Take your arms now out to shoulder height. And I want you to try to keep your shoulder blades and shoulders on the mat. Inhaling in place, press the small of your back into the floor. Exhale, lower both knees over to the left and gently turn your head to the right, keeping your right shoulder on the floor. You may not be able to go all the way down with your knees, it's okay. But do this slowly. So we're starting to warm up our core muscles. Inhale, keep your knees glued together. Keep your upper thighs perpendicular to your torso. Exhaling, both knees over to the right, head to the left, keeping your left shoulder on the mat. So we're now starting to warm up and activate our rectus abdominis, our transverse, our obliques, and a little bit of our erector spinae muscles. Inhaling, bring the knees back to center, keeping your feet, knees and thighs glued together. Exhale, both knees over to the left, head to the right. You might notice going a little bit further or not. Not the point, just be aware. Just be that witness. Inhale, bring your knees back to the center. Now, keeping your lower abs active, exhale, lowering both knees over to the right, helps to support and protect the lower back. If we have a weak lower back, and weak abs, we find it difficult to sit up straight, stand up tall. Inhaling, come back to center, and we see examples of this all the time. Even it might be us sometimes if we catch a glimpse of ourselves. Bringing your knees back to center. This will be the last time. You're going to take both knees over to the left, turn your head to the right. Maybe, just maybe, they might touch the floor, but you probably notice, even if they don't, that they're closer than they were. So we're releasing some of the tension and stress in the low back. And of course, this is also a nice stretch for your armpit and your chest muscles, your pectorals on the opposite side. Inhaling, bring the knees back to center. And last time, exhaling both knees over to the right, your head to the left. You might even notice a difference from one side to the other. Pretty normal. And inhale, come back to center. All right, here's where the rubber, or maybe the blubber, hits the mat. You're going to straighten both of your legs straight up. You're going to bring your fingers and interlock them behind the back of your neck. In this case now, I want you to try to keep your elbows glued to the floor. So press the small of your back into the floor. As soon as you press your small of your back into the floor, notice how it engages your core. All right, inhaling in place, exhale, lower the legs, keeping them close, if not glued together, halfway to the left, halfway. Now it can help to turn your head to the opposite side of your legs. Inhaling, bring your legs back to the center. Exhaling, take both legs over to the right, head to the left. Good work, everybody. I'm looking out there. And inhale, try to keep your knees together, back to the center. Keep your fingers behind. Now, if you want to take your arms out to the side, you can. It's probably a little bit easier if you're struggling with this, because now what we're going to do is we're going to take both legs all the way over to the left, all the way down to the floor. If they crash, they crash. Don't worry. But you try to do it with as much control as possible. Inhaling, bring the legs back to center. Exhaling, both legs together, over to the right. And you can take your head to the left. So if you've got your elbows on the floor, try to keep them there. Inhaling, back to center. Exhaling, over to the left, head to the right. So go slow as you can. Inhaling, back to center. You'll be happy to know this is the last time. Over to the right, head to the left. Inhaling, back to center. Okay, and then bend your knees and take hold of your kneecaps. And let's just rock from side to side. And breathe. So that's a difficult little exercise, but we get to check in, seeing how our core, how strong they are. It is, those muscles. And then if you're making circles, reverse. And now bring your arms inside of your legs with your knees bent. You're going to take hold of your insteps. If you can't reach your insteps, you're reaching for your ankles. You're taking your insteps and you're bringing your ankles directly over your knees, and your knees are just outside of your rib cage. So your feet are only about 2 feet apart, and you're pulling down on your insteps. So this is a nice safe stretch for the hamstrings. If your hamstrings are tight, this is a good practice. And of course, there's so many benefits to Happy Baby. We get into our ascending and descending colon. Probably going to talk about the microbiome next week. I want to really get into it, but eating a lot of different foods. And by the way, I might next week I thought about it this week, but I just ran out of time. I don't know how many of you eat jicama. It's spelled with a J, J-I-C-A-M-A, jicama. It is delicious. It is super healthy, and eating a variety of foods is so important for your microbiome. Alrighty, so bring your hands behind the backs of your knees. If you think you're okay to rock up, do so. If not, roll over onto your side and then use your top arm to push yourself up. Come on over onto all fours. How are we doing with heat, kids? Is it getting warm? Remember, this is the sign. Go like that if it gets too hot. Okay? Let me know. Everybody's different. And we'll find out about those differences when we do our dosha test. Okay, placing your hands underneath your shoulders and your knees underneath your hips. So cat-cow is an excellent movement to stretch out your erector spinae. So on an exhale, drop your hips, round your back, tuck your chin, and pull your bellies in. And on an inhale, let's curl the toes under. And then hollow out your lower back as you lift your hips up. Draw your heart centers a little bit forward and lift your heads, and maybe your eyes are gazing up towards your third eye. Exhaling, flatten the tops of your feet, round your spine as you drop your hips, tuck your chin, and pull your bellies in. Inhaling, curl your toes under, hollow out your lower back, lifting your tail. Draw your heart center forward so your shoulders move away from your ears, and let your eyeballs roll up, open or close to your third eye, Ajna Chakra. Exhale, rounding your spine. So think about those 3 subgroups of spinal erector muscles. And of course, they do exactly what it sounds like. They're going to keep your spine erect. Curl your toes under, hollow out your lower back, lifting your tail, draw your heart center slightly forward and your head slightly up. And exhale, last time, into cat. Stretching, relaxing your erector spinae, and curl your toes under and hollow out your lower back. And coming back to neutral. Inhale, sweep the left arm up, reaching up and stretching up. Exhale, take that arm underneath the other, threading the needle if you will, releasing your shoulder and the side of your face to the floor. Now you may want to keep your right hand where it is, your bum stays up in the air. If you feel like you're too far forward, bring everything a little bit back towards your knees. And if you wish, tippy toe the fingers of the right arm straight out in front. And just breathe here. Remember the tip of placing your tongue on the roof of your mouth will help you nose breathe. Now, when you need to mouth breathe, of course you're going to. But basically, if you can, focus on nose breathing. And by placing your tongue on the roof of your mouth, this will encourage nose breathing as opposed to mouth breathing. And then draw that right hand back and place the other hand under the shoulder. And then inhale, sweep the right arm up, reaching up, stretching up. Exhale, thread the needle, reaching through as far as you can, releasing your shoulder, the side of your face to the floor. And again, if you wish, tiptoe the fingers of the other arm out to the side. And draw that hand in and back in tabletop. Now take your knees wide apart. Big toes touch, flatten the tops of your feet. If you're able to bend, if it's okay to bend your knees 90 degrees, we're coming into our modified child's pose, bringing your hips back towards your heels, releasing your torso between your thighs. If it's comfortable, forehead to mat, or elevate by folding your forearms one on top of the other to create a pillow. If this bothers your knees, bring your knees under your hips and keep the bum in the air. Release your forehead to the floor in puppy pose. So having different forms of exercises that are, fairly well balanced, not too much and not too little, they will engage the largest muscles in the core and the legs. However, if we don't, our backs wind up taking on extra work. It's kind of like a job where you work with a team and some members don't do enough and then you have to do more. So by working all of these muscles and having some regular practices, even this once a week yoga, is that practice along with the other things that you like to do, enjoy to do, like walking and, of course, gardening. And then inhale, come on up. And then placing your hands underneath your shoulders again. They could be slightly forward. Remember, your fingertip point, your middle finger points forward. The wrinkles in your wrist should line up with the top of your mat. We're going to come into a soft downward facing dog. So curl your toes under and lift your hips up and just keep it soft. And then let's bend one knee, straighten the other leg. Feel that stretch through the back of the knee, the calf, the Achilles tendon. Breathing into it and change. So I did tell you that when I went to see the podiatrist at Jones and Danforth, and he was a new guy there, but Anna Georgiou is still at Jones and Danforth, across from my favorite shoemakers. Change again. He told me my calf muscles were tight. And I'm just telling you this because the calf muscles, your gastrocnemius muscles, attached to your Achilles tendon. Your Achilles tendon wraps around your heel and attaches to your plantar fascia on the sole of your foot. And change again. So my plantar fascia issue could have been the result of just a tight calf muscle, probably from wearing stylish shoes that weren't good for my leg and foot health, but, you know, blah, blah. Okay, so come on down onto your knees. And if you need to, I just backed off the heat a bit. Take a sip of water, because we're going to get to it now. Now what? Plank posture. I know, before everybody strips off here. I've turned it off, so it'll take a moment. So listen, even though we balance on our hands and our feet, on our toes, plank posture works every bit of your body, all of it. Now, you have an option, and you don't have to stay in it as long as I'll be in it, but if your wrists are tender, you can, and maybe I'll just turn this way so everybody can see me here. You can handle this, or your hands can be out in front, or, of course, the plank posture. Now, seriously, if your shoulders or your wrists can't handle this, then don't do it. And please listen to your bodies and don't stay in it any longer than you want to. It's like being at a party. Leave when you're done, okay? Or else it just gets ugly. You end up drinking too much and gossiping, and actually that's the fun part. But, okay, so think about your core. Now, this is going to work, all of it, okay? So that top layer of your rectus abdominis, that's the one that if you didn't have a lot of belly fat, you might see a six-pack, but don't count on it. Your transverse abdominis, it's deeper, connecting to your obliques, internal and external, or inner and outer, and your erector spinae. This is just key to sitting up straight, standing tall, being able to do anything at all, right? You know, when you feel strong in your core, your manipura, which is the esoteric aspect of the core, okay? That's Donald Trump. I don't care if you give me another fine. I don't care. You know what I mean? I'm not saying we want to be like, but I'm just saying that's an over, you know, that's an over-the-top manipura. But you get the point. Okay, so curling your, now if you want to come on and do it on your forearms, please do it on your forearms, or coming into plank posture, watching tech guy here. Now, I would rather that your bum comes up rather than sagging through the middle. If you sag through the middle, you're not getting any benefits from this at all. Pressing all 10 fingers into the mat will activate more of the muscles in your wrists and your forearms that are holding you up, reaching through the crown of your head. You might want to do a little bit of rocking, but certainly not too much. Focusing, however, on your core. Come out of this posture when you need to, I might hang in another 15 seconds, 20, 30, 40. I mean, this is something that I've mentioned to you. I'll practice it before I go to bed. I do a couple of things. But the more you practice, the more you do this, the stronger your body will be, the more you'll be able to do. I think the idea of maintaining our independence as long as we can, I mean, if we've got a couple of, people around the house that can do all the things that we don't want to do, great. But if they're not around, then you're it. Okay, bring your knees to the floor and let's come into child's pose. How you doing, tech guy? He's shaking his head, he's going, Okay, so let's come into child's pose. And if you want, you can make a pillow again with your arms. You're in your true child's pose here. Or if you can bring your forehead to the floor, your arms beside your body. And maybe just bang out the back of your wrists, the back of your hands. So this is Deva Premal's version of the Gayatri mantra. It's one that almost all of the people singing mantras will have a version of. Okay, that will do. Curl your toes under. Roll back onto the soles of your feet. And just let your knees be soft and let your upper body hang for a moment and give your head a bit of a swing. I always want you to check in that you're not holding your head. You're letting the weight of your skull, your brains, everything up there, stretch out your cervical vertebra. Now really feel firmly rooted and planted in the soles of your feet as you slowly roll up to standing. Keep your chin tucked into your chest and let your head be the last thing to come up. And then roll your shoulders up to your ears. Exhale, roll them back. Interlock your fingers. Take your feet a little bit apart. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Looking up at the sky, lifting your heart. Exhale, forward fold. Bring your torso between your thighs, reaching your arms up and over, whatever amount you can. Again, let your head hang. Give your head a good shake out. I'm glad we're all bent over. Nobody can see the back of my head right now. It's a terrible haircut. And release your fingers to the floor and slowly roll up one vertebra at a time. Ah, the perfect hairdresser. Always searching. Okay, so bring your feet together now. Big toes touching, heels can be apart. Interlock your fingers over top of your head, and then release your pointer fingers into a steeple. Bring your arms right beside your ears. Inhale, stretch up. I'll do the mirror image. Let's exhale to the left. Exhale to the left. Inhale, up. Exhale, other side. Arms are as straight as possible. Inhaling, up. Let your head fall back, and then bring your arms right beside your ears. Stretching the front of the spine, creating space for all of your abdominal organs. And then release your hands. Exhale, swan dive forward. Letting your head hang. Now, have your feet about 2 inches apart. Make sure the outsides of your feet are parallel. You kind of want your ankles, your knees, and your hips, so those are your hip bones, to line up here. You're going to drop your hips, and we're going to come up into Utkatasana, horseman's pose. Knees are bent. Now have a look that you can see your toes in front of your knees as opposed to your knees over your toes. Now feel how this engages your core. Your arms can be at shoulder height if you like, but feel how this is engaging your core, your entire body. And inhale, come on up. Exhale, float your arms down, taking up lots of space. Sun salutations, next up. Coming up to the fronts of your mats, give your legs a shake out. Might need another sip of water here. Be sure to take little sips of water whenever you feel the need. That's your body telling you you are thirsty, and we don't want to be dehydrated. Okay. Inhaling in place, exhale, hands in prayer. Step your feet apart. Reach up, look up, and arc back. Inhale, bring your feet back towards one another. Lift up out of your waist. Now reach forward, hinge from your hips, not from your lower back, from your hips. Bring your fingertips to the floor, bending your knees if you need to, and let your head hang, please. Step your left leg back, drop your knee to the mat. Bring your hands onto your front right thigh. And then focus your gaze for balance. Lift the knee off the floor. Press through your back heel. That is your anchor. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Fingers are engaged. Keep your shoulders down. Keep your rib cage in. Press through that back heel. That's going to keep you solid here. And focusing your gaze helps with balance. And pressing through your back heel. We're going to be talking about this later. Bring your hands to the floor. Spread your fingers apart. Come on into this favorite position of plank. We're not going to hold as long here at all. But reach your head forward, shoulders away from your ears. Feel your core muscles engaging. They have to. Unless you let your core sink like a camel, your core is engaged and you're getting stronger. Release your knees to the floor. Flatten the tops of your feet. Leave your hands exactly where they are. And then slowly take your hips back towards your heels. Keep going. Leaving your hands where they are. And now, slowly come forward. Keep your body nice and low. This is called 8 limbs. Everything's going to be on the floor except for your bum poking up in the air. You're releasing your chest and your chin onto the mat. So it may feel very awkward. It is awesome for the alignment of your spine. Slide everything out behind you. Bring your forehead onto the mat and draw your fingertips back to align with the edges, tops of your shoulders. Flatten the tops of your feet. Keep your elbows into your side body and then press your forearms down towards the floor. Roll an invisible alley with your nose to lengthen your neck. On an inhale, lift your head, neck, shoulders, and chest, if that's available. And you're not using your hands, they're just there for guidance in baby cobra. So you can feel you're using your back muscles here, particularly the lower muscles in the back. Again, this is all part of your core, making it easier for you to sit up straight, stand up tall, look 2 inches taller, 10 pounds lighter. Inhale, reaching up a little bit more if you can. Exhale, lower everything back down. Curl your toes under. You can come up onto your hips first, and then lift your hips up. Walk your feet a couple of inches forward. Bend your knees. Press your belly towards your thighs. Press your chest towards your knees. Now, when you press your belly onto your thighs and your chest towards your knees, you should feel your spine lengthening and then pressing your sit bones towards the back of your mats and your heels towards the floor. You're in your best downward dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. So breathe here. This is an energizing posture. It's an inversion. There's so many benefits. Lift that left leg up in the air. Look at your left hand. Swing that foot as far forward as you can. Now, if it didn't go very far, drop the opposite knee. Bring the foot with your ankle, or taking hold of your ankle back to the front. Other leg comes forward. Arms beside your ears. Engage your thighs by lifting up on your kneecaps. Pull your bellies in to protect your lower back. Sweep your arms straight out in front, reaching up, feet apart for balance. Look up, arc, back. Inhaling, stretch up. Exhaling, forward fold. And now you can bend your knees, sweep the arms out to the side, circling overhead. Exhale, in prayer. That's one round. Starting back at the fronts of your mats. Inhale, exhale, hands in prayer. Step your feet apart, reach up, look up, and arc back. Inhale, lifting up. Exhale, forward fold, fingertips to the floor. Please let your head hang. Step your right leg back, drop your knee to the mat. Bring your hands onto your front left knee. Focus your gaze. Lift your back knee off the floor and push into your back heel. That's your anchor. Keep your torso straight up and down over top of your hips as opposed to leaning forward. Straight up and down. Sweep the arms up. Pressing through your back heel. Fingers are active, shoulders stay down, rib cage stays in. And breathing through your nose if you can, and through your mouth when you have to. Turn your hands forward, spread your fingers apart, take them down on either side of your front foot. Come on back into your plank position. Pressing all 10 fingers into the mat, reaching through the crown. And remember, if this is hard on your wrist, you can bring your knees to the mat, lift your feet up and cross at the ankles, and then you can play around with how much weight you want to place on the upper part of your body. But believe me, if you keep doing this and practicing this for a few seconds every day, you'll get stronger everywhere in your body. Let's release the knees to the floor, flatten the tops of the feet, leave your hands where they are, and slowly take your hips back towards your heels. So feel this nice stretch through the arms, the shoulders, relaxing the wrists here. And breathe. The compression on your abdominal organs helps them to release toxins and wastes. All compression and twists do this for the body. And then as we begin to release and stretch out, fresh arterial blood rushes in to nourish. Okay, leaving your hands where they are. If you're able, lower your forearms to the floor and then stay nice and low, keeping your bum high. So continue to stay low. When you're able, release your chest and your chin onto your mats. Slide everything out behind you. And bring your forehead onto the mat. Align your fingertips with the edges of your shoulders. Your forehead is on the mat. Flatten the tops of your feet. Bring your elbows into your side body and then press your forearms down towards the floor. This brings your shoulders and your shoulder blades down your back instead of having them up around our ears. Now, if you're considering the fuller expression of Cobra, it's helpful if you wish to spread your feet wider apart and press your baby toe, roll your baby toe, outer edge of your foot into your mats. But you don't need to come up into the fuller expression. We'll all start by pressing the hips and pelvis into the mat. Roll the invisible alley with your nose to lengthen your neck. On an inhale, let's everybody come up to baby cobra. You're not using your hands at this point. You're using the muscles in your back. Now, if you feel inclined to experiment and press up into the fuller expression of cobra, please keep your elbows tucked in. Keep your shoulders down, because this is what some people want to do. I'm going to get up in this. Don't force. Don't let your ego get involved. You can keep a slight bend in the elbows. If there's pain, there's absolutely no gain in yoga. I've seen people injure themselves. I've even injured myself when I've pushed myself too much. You're like a fine instrument. Don't tune those strings too tight. One more breath in. Exhale, lengthen as you lower. Bring your feet back towards one another if they were spread apart. Curl your toes under and press up into your downward facing dog. Walk your feet a few inches forward. When you bend your knees, notice even how that can have a lengthening effect on your spine. Pressing your belly onto your thighs, your chest towards your knees, all 10 fingers pressing into the mat. Align your ears with your inner arms. And now pressing your sits bones towards the back of your mat, pressing your heels towards the mat. Don't worry if they touch the mat, it does not matter. We're lifting some of the weight out of the upper half of the body and redistributing it into the lower half. So breathe. Lift your right leg up in the air. Look at your right hand. Swing that foot as far forward as you can. Other foot forward, and let your upper body hang. Let your head hang. Let your arms hang. You're just a Raggedy Ann or Andy doll at this point. Engage your thighs by lifting up on your kneecaps. Pull your bellies in to protect your lower back. Bring your arms right beside your ears. And then inhale, sweep the arms in front. So you're using your core again. Bring your feet as wide as your mat, arcing back. Inhale, bring your feet back together. Lift up out of your waist. Exhale, forward fold from your hips. Bend your knees, sweep your arms out to the side, reaching up. Hands in prayer. Take a sip of water and lie thyself down on the mat for a moment. So we take a moment in classical hatha yoga to allow the body to absorb and integrate the benefits of what you have just done. And you let your breath come back. So lying down on your mats, taking a moment in Shavasana, gathering your energy before we move into our final asanas. So while you're lying there, just allowing your breath, no control, just allow it to find its normal rhythm. Walking, 9 great reasons, burns calories. Depends on the pace, the distance, the terrain, and your body weight, but just saying, it's good for your heart, 30 minutes a day. Now, Ayurveda, which is the science of lifestyle, according to yoga, and I read this anyway, whether it's Ayurveda or not, but walking after dinner, Ayurveda says 100 steps after a meal. It helps to lower your blood sugar, and it actually improves your overall blood sugar levels. So a little walk after a meal, a big meal, is a good idea. Walking can improve joint pain because if we don't move, the joints don't get lubricated. And the joints we're really talking about here are hips and knees. And of course, walking builds muscles, and muscles are needed to support your bones and joints. The bones and joints, they do what they do, but all of the muscles, we've talked about this in past classes, the muscles that are needed to keep your knees healthy. So we talked about our quadriceps and our hamstrings and IT bands. 30 minutes a day, research shows, can reduce the incidence of colds and flus. Now, I know a few people in my family who deal with varicose veins, so I'm not sure that it can help, but active muscles help to push the blood back up from the lower body. Now, getting your legs up in the air is also a good idea if you're dealing with some vein issues in your legs. Insomnia, well, again, this is a big problem in our world today, it seems, but walking is something that's calming. If you can find a nice place in nature, especially, lowers stress, lowers blood pressure, and as I said, improves immunity, and taking a walk can enhance creativity. And, you know, you get those feel-good endorphins, neurotransmitters, so it's kind of like that runner's high, except you don't have to run. And of course, if you prefer to walk using poles, then you get your upper body involved. So take a walk, super good for 9 different reasons. Alrighty, bend your knees, place your right ankle on top of your left knee. Bring your left bent leg towards you and interlock your fingers behind the back of your left knee. Okay, and you pull that knee towards you. Now, for some of us, this is where we're going to keep our hands. Others, depending on the length of your arms and the looseness of your hips, aka that junk drawer, you may be able to bring your hands around to the front of your left shin. But if you have to pull your shoulders off the floor to do that, then please bring your hands back around the back of your left thigh. And you're pulling the knee towards you and you're breathing into your right hip. You might do a little bit of gentle rocking here, or you can just hold it and continue to pull, but do focus your carrying awareness on that right hip. So this is supine pigeon pose, supine Ekapada Raja Kapotasana. Breathing into it. The breath in creates space, the breath out releases stress, tension, and tightness. And of course, because the tension and tightness didn't get there over a few seconds, it takes more than a few seconds, of course, to release whatever tightness is in this ball and socket joint. So there are only 2 ball and socket joints, your hips and your shoulders. And then uncrossed and placing the right foot of the bent right leg on the floor, you're going to place your left ankle on top of your right knee. Left ankle on right knee. Bring your right knee towards you. Start by interlocking your fingers behind your right leg. Start there. Pull that thigh towards you. And only if you can easily reach your fingers around to the front of your right shin, just below the knee, and keeping your shoulders on the mat. And breathing now into your left hip thigh. So be aware of the difference between pain and strain. You may feel a little bit of strain, but if you're feeling any pain from doing anything I'm asking you, or any yoga teacher, please listen to your bodies first and foremost. And release. And then let's draw both knees once again into the chest. And just do a little rocking from side to side with one hand on each shin, or perhaps making big circles. We're going to come back up for a couple of standing postures. So once again, you can either roll over onto your side, or you can roll up by placing your hands underneath the backs of your thighs and rocking up. All right, come on over onto your knees, curl your toes under, roll back onto the soles of your feet, keep your knees bent, let your upper body just hang out. Let your arms hang, let your head hang, slowly roll up, stacking one vertebra on top of the next, and making your head the last thing to come up. Okay, so there's going to be a bit of a balance here. We're going to go from warrior 1 to warrior 3. So I'll just show you quickly, and then you can pick a wall or a chair or something. So warrior 1, and then we're going to transfer our weight onto our front leg, and we're going to come into warrior 3. Now, if you want to work on your balance, cool. If you already know right now you're not going to be doing this very well for whatever the reasons are, go find a wall, or even the back of the church pew, or anything. You can even, well, I don't know if you want to come up here or not, off to the sides, but find something if you want to, or just experiment. It's okay if you fall out of it. I mean, if you come out of it, please, just the way it is. I may fall out of it. I don't know yet. We'll find out. Okay, so you're going to line your body with the front of your mat, and you're going to step your right leg back. Now, separate your feet so that you can orientate your hips, your chest, and your shoulders towards the front of your mat, and you're not having to torque your body. And then bend your front knee. And again, when we're bending our knee, you want to make sure that your knee stays over your ankle. So if it comes too far, we've lost the alignment and the strength. And the calf muscle lines up with your heel, your knees over your ankle. For warrior 1, your anchor is still going to be your back leg. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Keep your fingers active, shoulders stay down, rib cage stays in. Warrior 1, Virabhadrasana 1. So Vira, strong. Now, it's going to take strong core muscles to hold warrior 3. That's what this class has been about. I want you guys to have a really fun summer doing all the things you want to do. Kite sailing, maybe not. Windsurfing, kayaking, supping, swimming, drinking, I don't know. Okay, alrighty, so now take your time. Wait for your own inner cue, not my cue to balance, wait for your own. You're going to transfer your weight by coming up onto the ball of your back foot, and then you're going to lift your back leg off the floor and reach your arms either straight out in front or to the side or beside your body, but pick one. And step your back leg back. Oh, I didn't hear one single crash. Good work, everybody. Okay, let's turn the feet sideways on the mat, at least one leg length apart, at least one leg length apart, okay? Feet are turned out. Take your arms out to the side, your 5-pointed stars. Exhale, forward fold. Tense your fingers just below your face. And then inhale and sweep the right arm up, reaching up and stretching up. Feel that inner left adductor muscle stretching. Exhale, float it down. Inhale, sweep the other one up. Exhale, float it down. You can walk your feet back in towards one another. Bend your knees, slowly roll up, one vertebra at a time. And let's do the other side. So, stepping the other leg back, whichever one that is, because now I always confuse myself. Left. What, left is forward? Thank you. Good work, everybody. Okay, so once again, you want your feet somewhat apart so that you find ease in keeping your body centered towards the front of your mats. Bend your front leg. Have a look that you can see your big toe inside of your knee. It likes to collapse in. Don't let it. Press into the outside of your back foot. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Keeping your shoulders down, your rib cage in, your gaze can be up. And ideally, your shoulders are right over your hips. So not leaning forward, not yet. Alrighty, get ready to come up onto the ball of your back foot, transferring your weight onto your front leg. Take your time to lift your back leg off the floor. Virabhadrasana 3. Strengthening your core, strengthening your whole body. And the muscles that are wobbling, they're stabilizers, they're working. And step that foot down. Awesome. Turn your feet out once again, sideways on your mat. Bring your arms out to shoulder height. Exhale, fold from the tops of your hips. Tabletop your spine, fingertips tented below your face. And then if you're able, lunge over to the left side, bringing your bum close to your heel or as much as you can. If you can lunge all the way. And I believe it was written by a woman who spent a good deal of her life on the streets. But thankfully, that part of her life has been resolved. And she calls this poem Natural Resources. I get my energy from the rising of the sacred sun and the feeling of the soft morning breeze. I get my oxygen from the trees. I find inspiration in the mystical rainbow after the rain. And a loving animal always soothes my pain. I find faith in the stars in the sky, so vast, so mysterious, and proof that there's something beyond this. And it's only necessary to take it in, not to ask why.
Sitting silently in a forest, I gain insight. On the beach, in the sand, I am rich. I gain wisdom from nature. Breathing in, watch your bellies rise. And breathing out, watch your belly fall. When we allow our exhalations to be longer than our inhalations, we know that we're letting go of all manner of wastes, carbon dioxide, even ideas and thoughts that are no longer serving us. This life takes faith. Everything is not obvious, and the expression, "I'll believe it when I see it," should be reversed to, "You'll see it when you believe it." And that's where faith comes in. Life is full of challenges, obstacles. But these are the very things that help us grow and evolve, that help us be more than we are today, to be more useful, to be more beneficial to ourselves and others. And again, I've said it before, but I love this expression from Muhammad Ali: service is the rent we pay for our time on earth. But serving ourselves first, helping ourselves about ourselves first, is the only way we can move forward and help others. Inhaling the life force, long, full, and deep. And deep, exhaling. Long, full, deep, inhaling. And let it go. Inhale, stretch your arms over behind your heads. Reach and stretch, point feet far, flex and point, and drop your arms down by your side. Rolling over onto your side, bend your knees, perhaps use your bottom arm as a pillow for a moment if you wish to spend just a moment here. Don't forget your little Buddha smile. It relaxes more of the muscles of your face. And when you're ready, using your top arm, press yourself back up into a seated position. And if you like, you can join me in chanting Om just once to close our practice. Inhaling together. Om. Om Shanti, Namaste. Have a beautiful day. sound at the end?
Just 2 minutes.
Just 2 minutes? That's Jane's favorite part anyway. She hates doing she wants to. Yeah, I've got a few people. So we got somebody out in Victoria and not Brockville, Belleville, and a few people in Toronto, and I don't know where else today.